like this kind of thing.
For
Ah,
sure.
okay,
So let me
sorry.
just quickly say to folks watching that I am really pleased to be joined this morning by the most amazing Mr. Edward Kas-pel of legendary Pink Dots Tear Garden. Edward, thank you for taking time out to join us.
A pleasure, Derek.
How are you doing today?
Oh, okay. My wife's away for and daughter away for a couple of days, so I'm just taking the chance to record all day basically at the moment.
Sounds
Uh,
good. And she's doing okay?
oh yeah. It's yeah, we're all doing kind of fine here. We even got the start of a finally summer, which is a good thing. Don't
Nice.
see too much of that here.
So it's 10 o'clock in the morning here, and it's like early evening there for you?
Ah, it's 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome. Edward, I'm not sure where to start, but I want to say that when I first heard about the band was through this compilation here.
That's our very first piece to appear on vinyl. There's actually a story behind that.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's
Wow. Now it really stood out to me. I've been a long lover of the music of Europe and Britain, and your track stood out as well as Kevin Harrison's. But what's the story behind the name of the band? I was intrigued by the name of the band right away. That you would call yourself legendary, and then Pink Dots. To me, it connotates lethargic dreams and things.
I mean, it's actually a bit more mundane than that today.
Okay.
The source of the name. Basically, our early days were they were in a squat in the east of London,
Hmm.
and there was this really old piano there, and there were like little daubs daubs of pink nail varnish on some of the keys, which if you
Okay.
sounded them all together, they sounded this kind of pleasing discord.
Hmm.
But nobody really knew why they were there or anything like. Yeah, I mean, presumably somebody was learning piano, I guess, but it was a strange way of doing it. And they were just talked about as like, the mysterious pink dots, and then eventually the legendary pink dots. And somebody just suggested that as a name of the band. I've no idea who, but it just kind of stuck. And once it's there,
It's a
you
great name. It's a great name. It's a great name. Let me ask you about your name, Edward Kas-pel. When I hear it, it always makes me think about casting spells. Is there?
again a little mundane. It's not the name I was born with, but my mum's name was Caspel with
Okay.
a C and double L, and that's her maiden name, and
Hmm.
so I basically wanted to adopt that name. Okay, I changed the spelling,
Wow.
sort of like just to make it a little mysterious. But it's actually it was my mum's name.
Very, very mysterious, actually. So, I have to explain, Edward, that as a music lover and collector and player, I've always been
I
more,
see it with the vinyl.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
impressive.
Thank you. It's my love. I've always been more in tune with the music than the words, but Edward, you are among the exceptions where I love the sound. That's number one. Your work with sound. I want to ask a few things about it, but your words and the sound of your voice has always drawn me in as well. Which I want to compliment you because a lot of vocals to me are kind of annoying, but yours you pull the listener in. You pull me in.
Oh, thanks, Derek. It doesn't happen with everybody, but I'm happy to hear that.
Well, I'd like to share that as I was sharing in my social media yesterday that I was going to talk to you, I got several comments from people around the world that I'm associated with. And one of the words that kept coming up was genius, the
Oh
genius of
no, no,
Edward.
I don't like that term really. I mean, I just do what I do, basically.
Well, check it out, Edward. I think this is what it's about. It's like you seem to have a real strong grasp on words. And it's like, can you talk about that? Did you ever consider being a writer of books, poetry, and what's happening? It seems like a real strong stream of thoughts that you share with us.
Yeah, I thought about writing novels in the past, and like I still do here and there, but again, time is of the essence. Like I do write a lot of lyrical pieces. Like if you wake up with an idea, you need to write it down straight away, and then sort of like go back to it. So there are scraps here and there where I think I need to work on that idea.
Mhm.
And of course, typically, if you sometimes you get an idea that you think this has to be something, and I think, oh yeah, but first breakfast or something like that, and of course it will go. It will just disappear into the
Yeah,
ether.
yeah.
So I'm disciplining myself very very much these days when it comes to the words. There's a perfect time for it, which is usually early in the morning.
Hmm.
I try to get up really at the crack of dawn, and then I will work on music and work on the words, and just see what comes. And
Hmm.
that first hour or two in the morning is just golden.
I
And
agree. I
and
agree.
that's where it really does begin, because I have a very full day, but by the time it's time to sleep, I'm ready. I just literally fall down because
Mm-hmm.
every, so much happens every day. There's
Yeah.
so much to sort of like so time is always like it's always seems precious and limited.
Yes, I
Um,
would agree with that. Looking at your output, Edward, it appears that you work pretty regular. Do you work on music all the time?
every day, yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
today, just a new piece. I've been we're like alone as away for 4 days, so I thought I need to actually produce a song a day while
Hmm.
she's gone, and
Hmm.
it's been working so far. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
actually on the fourth day, so
Wow. The most recent thing I have from you is this 10-inch here from
oh,
Lumberton.
permission to leave the temple, yeah.
Yes, and they're going to release something else by you coming up here. Fourth of
That's Richo, yeah, he's an old friend. Tales from the Trenches. Yeah,
yeah.
that.
Go ahead and talk about it a little bit, please.
I mean that there were a trio of albums last year that I made. That originally were just downloadable.
Hmm.
I was very affected by the war that started out in Ukraine. As it just completely upset the whole family. 'Cause, my wife is Russian, and she was devastated by
Okay.
what was happening.
Hmm.
And so, of course, yeah, we talked about it a lot. And like I just needed to put my feelings into music, because
Yes.
so they're rather angry, very sad records.
Hmm.
I say records, like albums. They are albums.
Yes.
First one with the Concrete Diaries, and but Tales from the Trenches, I think, even eclipses that one in terms of like the sadness. It's a very sad work, and it finished. There was a third one called 100 Seconds to Midnight. That already came on vinyl, but it came and went, unfortunately, very very fast.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, they've all basically materialized on vinyl, all three of them. Like when the third one comes out,
And
and
this is related to that. This is related to
it
those.
that relates to the pandemic, where when there was the lockdown, I really, we were home, we had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So basically, I went into sort of a kind of overdrive of like making a lot of music, and then
Okay.
basically releasing something every month.
Hmm.
And that was one of the releases. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of material that I created over that time, and it did pretty much all kind of materialize, but mostly online. And then like slowly, I've been putting CDRs out of it, and
Hmm.
occasionally something like what you hold there, the
Yeah.
vinyl.
Yeah. Richard.
Um,
Richard is the Richard Johnson. Is that his name?
yeah, Richo, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't. I've only talked to him. We haven't actually met, but he does seem like a really good person.
He's a nice guy. He's a
Yeah.
very nice
Yeah.
guy.
And so
And
the
he's been
title.
been around for years, yeah, of what he's
Okay.
doing. I really like what he's doing.
Cool. And so Permission to Leave the Temple was about being locked down, kind of?
It was the start of it. It was the very early days of the pandemic. It was one of the first things I did. Then yeah, as time rolled on, the the things began to expand and
Hmm.
expand
Hmm.
into literally they could be like an hour long, but always songs and atmospheres and just basically what I felt and what I put down tended to be realized all within the space of a month
Hmm.
and just put out there at the end
Hmm.
of that month.
Hmm.
And I called them basically the quarantine tapes. And it was just something I really felt I needed to do. Because you didn't know if it was going to end.
Right.
I don't know how it was for you, Derek, but I really did wonder, will I ever step on a stage again? Will I?
Wow. Yeah.
You
It
know,
was strange. It was strange for a while.
yeah,
It was. And at the beginning of it, how the streets were very empty here in my town. How about
yeah,
yours? Yeah.
yeah.
Very
But
strange.
it was interesting too because for a while it was there was a certain beauty to it as well. For a start, the air, like I live on the edge of London. The air is not good.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
at that time, it seemed to take 3 days into the lockdown, and the air was just you you breathed it in deeply. It's just like I don't think my lungs have ever felt like this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All the
and
exhaust that we constantly breathe,
yeah.
constantly. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So you don't worry about writer's block, obviously, huh?
Sometimes I do, but when it happens, it's really worrying because writer's block is that moment when you think, "Oh my God, has it stopped?" It's I, I'm a bit of a person of extremes,
Well, obviously it
and
hasn't. It hasn't.
but then it usually comes back, which is a good thing.
Seems like you're getting better all the time to me. This album, Brighter Now, which is a reissue of it. This is not the original cover, is it?
No, no, the
Okay.
original I love the original cover. It's similar, but
Mhm.
it's much more like a pencil drawing.
Yes, yes. The thing I want to share is that I noticed in your trajectory musically that you start off kind of with basic tools musically, and it continues to grow. But even from the beginning, with the basic instrumentation, you imbue it with a lot of imagination, and I find that really impressive. That it
Oh,
doesn't sound just amateurish. Already there's some sort of vision happening coming through the music.
there is there is always I do have a certain goal with every piece of music that I do, and it is that nothing can stay the same. It sort of like every drum track that I lay down has to evolve. Every bass track I lay down has to evolve. Everything needs to evolve musically and in terms of the sound. So it's like a constantly evolving process, and that relates not just in a piece as I create it, but in the evolution of a piece that's already been released over time.
Mhm.
If you play it live, that too has to evolve and
Yes,
change. And it with such a philosophy, I guess, it never gets dull. It never
no
gets
doubt.
boring.
No doubt. Yeah, that's beautiful too. Along those lines, you've done a lot of touring, it seems, and playing live. How do you approach choosing what to present? I mean, obviously, the newest release will be a focus, but do you have a way of choosing what you want to present when you go out on tour?
It's just a case of feeling it, and then chatting to the rest of the guys. If they agree with it, and they'll chip in their ideas for what we should play from. We all agreed on what we should play from, like the latest
Hmm.
record. We actually played a lot of new material on the last tour, and but there are a couple of things from history, but they have to be relevant to the band that is. you
Yeah.
know, because the last thing I would ever want is a kind of karaoke
Oh my God.
type
Yeah, I
of
can't.
thing where you're just playing things. You know, it has so everything becomes reinterpreted.
Yes,
And
I can't even imagine you doing a phone it in. Can't imagine that.
no, I really have no time for that.
I got to see you once. I forget the date when it was. I think maybe in the 2000s, or it was around the time of this album,
Oh,
Asylum.
that's 1985 that came
Okay,
out.
because when I saw you was in Kansas City, and I had a CD copy, and I had you sign mine,
Uh-huh.
and
Well, I see it.
it was the show was really. It was like you and the band took us to another place. It's like we weren't in a club anymore. It's like you're taking us to a place with you with this music and this your presence. You have a presence, Edward. When you're singing and doing the various songs, is it always you, or do you play characters in your?
No, it's always me, but I intend to go to a place myself on stage, and if fail to get there, then for me the show has been a failure.
Got you. Now,
So I go to enormous rituals before the show. I don't tend to eat before a show, often
mhm,
the whole day.
mhm,
So like the head state is right. I
yeah.
don't drink or take any like no substances or anything like
Right.
that before a show. I want to be as clear-minded as possible. I might just give in for a Red Bull or something like that, just to sort of like just make myself super alert, but
Mhm, mhm.
nothing more sinister or dubious than that. And then that way I can just give the show everything that it needs to please me, because ultimately I think all musicians need to fulfill themselves when they go
Absolutely.
out there, but also
Absolutely.
fulfill the general, sort of like you are a group that is interacting with each other. Need to feel that all those connections were made to
Mhm.
make something bigger than all of us.
Absolutely.
And I think some of the last shows have been probably some of our best shows in our history.
Yes, and I do regret that I didn't go to the Omaha show. It was so cold, and I have a condition called Raynaud syndrome, and I don't handle the cold well, so I didn't go anywhere. But
Oh, I
folks
totally
that went
understand,
said
Eric. It was a freezing night.
yeah. The friends of mine that went to the show really enjoyed it, though. Said it was really good.
It was a nice venue. They just didn't advertise the show very well.
No, unfortunately, the Reverb. I've played there a few times. Yeah, unfortunately. Um, with that in mind, this album, it's like your sound and your work. This to me, I hear commentary on the state of mankind on this album.
Yeah, it's there right there, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the sound of this album, it's again, it sounds like it's a your sound continues to evolve. I love the sonic way that you present the keyboards and the intermittent sound and the guitar also. Interesting the way you use the guitar. Is there
And that's
any?
Eric. Yeah, he's a fabulous guitar player. And I do all the mixing myself,
Mhm,
but with a lot of consultation for like because Eric's, especially with Eric and his guitar, because
mhm.
it's such an important element to what we
Yes,
do.
yes.
And he can transform a song. Like I'll usually write the basic song, but
Mhm,
he will look at it and he will take it into another place, and
mhm.
that's what you wish. It needs to go. You know, it's like I've done my part, but I want to see it beyond where I took it to, and
Yeah,
he always manages to do that.
yes. You've been playing with him for a while now.
Oh, a long time, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He was in the band. I think it was for 3 or 4 years in the early 2000s. Then he rejoined in 2009.
Mhm.
So this is his 14th year
Wow.
in
Nice,
the second
nice.
in the second incantation
Mhm.
incarnation of it.
Is the Silverman done? Is he retired or is he still working?
At the moment, he's sort of retired.
Mhm.
Whether he'll stay that way, that's for him to decide. You know, he seems to be enjoying his retirement,
Mhm.
which is good. I mean, why
Yeah,
not?
no
You can't
doubt.
say he hasn't earned it.
No
But
doubt.
you know, it's yeah, he's enjoying his life and you know, doing well. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does start making a bit of music. So he just needs a bit of time, I think,
Yeah,
bit of downtime.
no doubt. So how is the rest of the year for you? Are you at home? Are there any, is there touring coming up? What's,
The rest of this year,
yeah,
I'm home. Uh,
nice, nice.
Probably talk of a tour in February,
Hmm.
next February, where we'll hopefully go to Scandinavia and Poland.
Hmm.
And but yeah, there's a lot of recording again. Like
Hmm.
there's a new album in the can, a new solo one, and
Excellent.
which Ray's going to master that
Hmm.
first, and I'm sort of holding that one back a little bit because
Okay,
it's a very intense record, but
okay.
nobody's heard any of it yet.
Hmm. Before I forget, Ron Anderson says hello.
Oh, say hello to Ron. Yeah,
I
oh,
will.
we
I
go
will.
back.
He and I have been trying to collaborate. It hasn't happened yet, but we're pretty friendly.
Yeah, Ron put the whole band up in his place in Oakland many years ago, and yeah, I
Nice,
love his music. You
nice.
know, Ron is one of the greats, one of the great
Yes,
musicians.
yes. Now, speaking of intensity, this album, which is one of my favorites, I haven't heard all of their stuff, but this one really sticks with me. Was there something going on that inspired this? And is that Pee Wee Herman on the front?
I can't tell you if that's Pee Wee
Okay.
Herman or not. A lot of other people have actually mentioned that.
Yeah.
I didn't design the cover. That
Okay,
was
because I
Stefan
didn't think it
Per.
was Pee Wee Herman either, but someone mentioned that when I showed it recently. I said, I don't know if that's him, but Asylum, it seems to be about mental health,
Oh, it
madness.
was. It
Yeah.
was very much. It was a troubled album to make.
Hmm.
The members would sometimes disappear from the band for a while we recorded. We recorded it mostly in like our violin player at the time, Patrick, in his flat. It was
Hmm.
a tiny little room with an 8-track in it.
Wow.
And by the time we finished it, we were down to just a 3-piece. Me, him, and me, him, and the Silverman. But then people reappeared again, so suddenly we
Hmm.
expanded back to a 5-piece,
Hmm.
all during the course of that album. And
Hmm.
at the very end of it, because you see, it's a real journey, that record.
It really
You know,
is. It
yeah.
is that 10-minute piece where you do the sound work that, and in parts of it sound like the Residents, but there's the sound work where you step out of song into presenting sound. It's so strange, Edward, because it's like even the first time I heard it, it sounded like it was vaguely familiar, so mystical, mysterious.
Yes, it's in. I mean, it was quite an ambitious thing. You know, at that time, because it was, I say, 1985, and everything was done with tape.
Right.
You know,
You didn't have samplers because that's what I thought. You didn't
no,
have some.
no, no, no. It's pre-sampler.
Man, that's some serious work on those parts where things are switching quickly.
Yeah, that's a lot of tape.
No doubt. And the other thing that sticks out in my mind is this reference to Gershwin or we need you. It's haunting.
Yeah, it's about the the Hollywood image of America, about how it was in the innocence of an age that's gone, and
Hmm.
the longing for that time to come back. Yeah,
Yes,
I think every country has it. I don't think it's particularly, just America. It's
right.
yeah, there's a harkening back to more innocent times here too,
Yes.
and which actually weren't so innocent at all. But
No,
it's just how
true.
we view them. You know.
Yes. I think I picked up on that here with the Museum of Human Happiness. That it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, well, I'm going to stay in the museum, because it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I don't even know if I wouldn't say I personally want to stay in the museum.
Mhm.
I do find it fascinating to watch something, indeed from the 70s or like something like that I really connected. But I do remember the 70s. It was actually a
Absolutely.
horrible decade. Great music, but
Yeah,
horrible decade.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. I mean, I'm 68. That was my period. I was just talking about Woodstock. I was just talking about
Oh,
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Yeah, I mean, today is the anniversary of it, in 69. I almost could have gone. My mom wouldn't let me go, but I actually had a chance to go.
Oh wow, I would
Yeah.
love. Yeah, it's like that's one of those things you wish you could have been. We never had a Woodstock in the UK, not
Mhm.
really. Hey, we had. Went to the early Glastonbury.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great until it became super commercial
Yeah,
and
I can imagine. And have you played many festivals over the years?
played a few. Uh, yeah, played a few. I kind of enjoyed them, though
Hmm.
you do get the feeling that you always play for a short time and you never really deliver everything
Yeah,
that you want to.
yeah, you don't
And
have a ton of time. Yeah.
but the
So the,
challenge of drawing in people who have never heard of you, and they've never heard of you,
yeah.
but sort of like capturing them,
Hmm.
it's always it's a tremendous challenge that I do actually really relish.
Cool. That's cool. So that's part of what keeps you going on the road then, huh?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
That's
it's always if there's eight people there or 800 people there, you really, in fact, the eight people can be sometimes more fun than the 800 people.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm really gathering that strongly from you, Edward, that you are motivated by the work itself, that music, it's about the music and the creative process for you as opposed to being a business or commercial venture.
Oh, I'm a useless businessman. I mean, I'm just ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't interest me really, business. I mean,
Yes.
apart from the fact that you got to live from it, and that can be a bit of a challenge. I won't
Yeah.
deny it.
Yeah.
But with persistence and releasing a lot all the time in this climate, you can get by.
Yes. Yes,
It's
indeed.
just it's you just about make it,
Hmm.
but you can get by.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I understand that Play It Again, Sam put out your first record. This is the EP, but the album, that was their first release on that label?
The Asylum was Asylum the first? No, Faces in the
Faces in the
Fire was the
Fire. Yeah,
first
I
one.
don't have that
Yeah,
anymore. And this was also on Play It Again, Sam. So
that's a 12-inch. Yeah,
yeah.
that was a like a sister release to Island of Jewels.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
strange record.
Mhm. How was your experience working with this label?
Well, play it again, Sam. I mean, at the time, I think we didn't appreciate each other as much as we could have done. But looking back, they actually did kind of a lot for us. And,
Hmm.
so I really would not knock them or have sort of like
Hmm.
there are worse labels, a lot worse labels. I mean, because they're a very big label now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they recently reissued Faces in the Fire, and they
Oh,
did it
cool.
very correctly. They asked me for a start,
Yeah.
and immediately they sent me a pre-master. Like, does this sound good to me? Because they had their own guy master it, and
Hmm.
I approved it because it did sound very good. They just got it all correctly. They sent us a few copies, and you know,
Wonderful.
it was. I was very happy. I thought there was a lot of respect and care shown, and
Awesome.
I was very happy with that.
Edward, I've got to run to, I just got to take a quick
No
run to the
worries.
bathroom, okay? I gotta go. We'll be right back. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'll edit this out. I'll edit
No,
this out.
no worries.
It's one of the things
It's,
about getting old for me that
oh, yeah, me too.
yeah.
I'm there as well.
So, you have kids? Do you have a family?
Oh, I've got kids. I've actually got 5 children, but
Wow.
4 from previous marriages,
Hmm.
and Alice now, she's 13, and yeah, so and they're all great. A lot of
That's
them.
beautiful. So, I hope this is okay. Is that an ex?
Ex-girlfriend, yeah, from many
Okay.
years ago. Yeah,
Okay. This is really cool. The live side is it's this is really good.
funny. That particular album, I don't really like the production,
Okay.
if I'm
Now I
honest.
understand that, but there's something about the performance.
Oh, I think the performance was good, but I find the sound a bit clean for my part. It's like
Gotcha.
it's recorded for the radio, and you know, we were a very young band then, and it. I think we didn't assert ourselves enough in what we wanted in the sound.
Hmm.
That's not to put the engineer down. He
Yes,
was a really
yes.
good engineer,
Hmm.
but Asylum was much closer to my heart. They were recorded very close to each other
Hmm.
in terms of time. And
Yeah.
Asylum, I think, really sounds much more like us.
Hmm.
But that's not to put down. I mean, I think there's some beautiful tracks on the Lovers,
Oh, I love it.
but
I love it. So, I just have a few of your recordings. I wish I had more, but where is it? You have some solo albums where you use the term China doll. Like, I thought I had it sitting out, but Kataklamichi China doll.
oh, that's right. Yeah, I really like that one. That's probably possibly my favorite of the China dolls.
Okay, and I thought I had pulled it to show. What is that? What is that referring to?
It's so long ago, I can't really remember. It just became like a kind of a little one of those small sort of like obsessive things that you forget why you're doing it.
Wow. I'm glad I asked because I couldn't make sense of it, but it's really cool. Okay, and I'm trying to dig up these other records I have of yours. Okay, this one, The Golden Age. That's an amazing cover. And what?
That's again Stephen Barbary. He was the house artist for Play Again, and he was a wonderful artist.
Yes.
Still making great art.
Hmm.
He's in touch with Stephen. But
What can you
that
tell?
that was my favorite album that we made in the 80s, the
Okay.
Golden Age. Really, there's something that it affects me emotionally quite deeply when I listen to that one.
Hmm. I'm going to just take it in some more because I was listening to it last night, but I'm going to take it in some more. Um, thought I had all my records by you sitting out. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. It's like, here's this swinging reflective where
Oh,
you were,
Steve, yeah, yeah.
yes, have you done much collaborating with people?
We made a whole side of a or like side of an album together. We did that quite recently, but we did it kind of through the mail. I mean, I go back with Steve. I've known Steve for years,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I love what he does, and I love the guy.
Hmm.
He's just one of the best people uh, in my life, and
Wow, that's
yeah,
cool.
so in a way, it would be really nice to make a proper full length album. I mean, we talked about it, we just never quite got round to it.
Hmm. How about David Tibet?
Dave, again, love. I haven't seen Dave for many, many years, but you know, very fond memories, and yeah, I like David.
So that brings up a question I want to be sure to ask. Interestingly, legendary pink dots don't fit into any genre comfortably, which I like that. But it's like you're not
Hopefully,
psychedelic, you're not goth, you're not post-punk. Any thoughts about that from you?
see the thing was I never wanted us to fit into any category. Now it wasn't that can't be a raison d'etre, you know, sort of like we don't want to fit because then it's forced.
Yes.
You know, you just basically have to present something that is you.
Yeah.
And you know, do we as human beings fit into categories? Not really.
You're a wise man, Edward. You're a wise man. Have you played in Japan?
No, I wish.
Wow. Wow.
I
No
like.
interest there, huh?
Well, we get a few like orders and sort of people have contacted us from there, but no offers to play there. I mean, it's a shame because I actually love a lot of music that comes out of Japan. That's why I want to go there.
No doubt. No doubt. I can understand that. Same here. So, a couple more questions before I forget them. Has anyone ever approached you to do any movie work? Your voiceover, your stories?
No, I guess in a way we just well, we've never really been out there. Like we've never really been big on promotion.
Okay.
You know, it's we we tend to work with like not just one label but a whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we actually have a friendship with all the labels we work with. You know, I like them all. In
Yeah.
terms of actually promoting and sort of like shouting from the rooftops about how good you are, I can't do that. Yeah, plus the fact that sort of like I'm also very critical of what we do. So like if something is out of place or something like it nags.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
That's why.
it's
Yeah.
just not out for it.
Well,
Bit
that's why you
late
keep
now.
getting better. That's why you keep getting better. The music just it improves. You're true to your muse, which I totally respect. And I'm just going to tell you, I think you're pretty brilliant as an artist, Edward. I do. I think you're quite good at what you do. And
Pat
thank you
my
for
mum.
sharing it. Thank you for sharing it. Let me put it like that. Thank you for not keeping it to yourself. Thank you for letting us hear what you do.
Oh, I intend to keep doing it.
Right on. I certainly hope
There's
so.
no thought of retiring, not from live, not from recording, not at all. I mean, why? Why would you stop?
Yeah. Yeah. See, this inspires me. Talking to you, Edward, this inspires me. I'm a musician myself. Um, and to hear someone like yourself who's been working for so long, has this large body of work, and your motivation seems to be intact as opposed to have been becoming jaded.
Oh yeah, if you feel it's becoming a routine, or yeah, then it's time to stop
Yeah.
because it will only become like the cup will only empty from there
Hmm.
on. And who wants to be left after all those years, all those good years, with an empty cup?
Yeah. 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 For sure. So So currently, do you have a setup musically that you like to work with? Are you working with any particular software or keyboards, or is it? Are you,
I'll show you my setup. Hang on just a sec. I'm gonna dislodge. There was a hard drive hanging out here, so I need to.
so we're in your workspace, eh?
This is my workspace. It's actually the living room.
Nice, nice.
In fact, you may be able to
Yeah, I
see
see. I
my
see a keyboard. I see
workspace.
that keyboard.
Yeah, that is my workspace.
Okay, okay. All righty.
Hang on,
Awesome.
I'll take you there. This is it.
Hmm. Oh, this is so
So
cool. This is so cool.
This is it. This is my entire workspace.
That's fantastic. It's really all you need because the work comes from within.
Yep, it's like, and they're like the keyboards. I'll brush everything off here and sort of like get all the analog stuff going some once in a while. But this is it. I mean, it's not a big house.
What DAW do you use?
Alistair.
Hello. What audio workstation do you use? What do you...
Ableton.
Okay.
I really like Ableton. It's just something I can and it means I can work the way I always worked back in the back in the 80s. Because I won't say I understand Ableton at all, or any DAW basically, but I do know how to work with them under my own methodology.
Gotcha.
And if I plowed myself into understanding what's going on and all the possibilities of it, I wouldn't have time for the music itself. So so I have to do it on my own terms, which is like basically I gradually, I look at each piece like a painting, and then you sort of like that needs it there, and sort of like focus on something. Then I put it in the monitors, so I get it together a little bit in the headphones first, then it goes to the monitors, and everything gets rebalanced. When all the details are there, all the little touches, and then I render everything to audio. Because but it's just one computer. I don't have massive amounts of RAM to sort of like so everything gets ultimately down to about 8 to 12 tracks. And then I'll with submixes and everything like that, and then I will go from there. And if there is an error somewhere, I will use the error to sort of like take it somewhere else, because I think this error has happened for a reason, and the reason is sort of like a challenge to what do I do with this error, and to make it something special. And that's how it always was in the 80s too.
Absolutely. That is the truth of the creative process, that a lot of things happen and we didn't plan it, but there it is.
So that's the best way. It's good to let chance. It's good to make music together with chance.
Yes.
And like see what chance can throw your way, because that's what makes it so interesting. It's just like you don't see that coming.
Right.
It's just like, oh, and then it's like, thank you. It's
yes, absolutely. Oh, this is so cool to talk to you. It's like we are similar in that sense. And when we get done talking, we're going to do the same thing. You're going to be working on music. I'm going to be working on music today. It's the best.
Yeah. It's the best way. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work at all, and then you just think, well, put it down to experience.
Yeah.
But mostly it does. So happily.
Two more sort of they're not standard questions, but things that I'd like to ask folks. With your wonderful wordplay, has anyone ever asked you to write or publish a book of your words, of your lyrics?
There actually is one.
I haven't heard about it.
Mine, Kirsten, lovely book, beautiful book. Love and Loud Colors. I don't have it here, unfortunately.
When did that come out?
I think it was about 2004, maybe something like that. It's a
hardback. Okay, I'll have to search that out. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's Kirsten's work though. She did like a lot of artwork in it. Peter Schoolworth did a lot of art for it as well. There's a CD in the back.
Wow, I'll have to get that.
It's a really beautiful book.
Nice. I'm glad I asked. I'll be looking for that. And then again, like you said, you haven't been the sort of person to be into promotion, but again, I can see where your music would work well in a movie setting. Has no opportunities for, has any of that happened?
There have been a couple of pieces in very in a way, small budget movies,
Mhm.
but a long time ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, people don't tend to ask, and I don't tend to seek it out. I mean, it
Okay.
would be nice, but
Mhm.
yeah, if they don't ask,
Okay.
I'm not going to come looking for them either.
Well, maybe someone will see this. We'll see, huh? Okay, so this is a kind of a standard question I almost don't like to ask, but I got to ask it because your music is so unique. What were some of your childhood musical or art? What inspired you to make music? Was it another musician? Was it a band? Was it something that happened?
It was loving music as I was growing up, for sure. I
Mhm.
mean, I got into all the interesting German bands that, like so many, like the Cans and Amondur and Ashar Temple, and that was the early Kraftwerk. I think is godlike. The first three,
Yes, absolutely. I love
yeah,
those too. They're
the
all in my
ones that I
collection.
wouldn't reissue.
Yeah, I've got them all. I've got them all. And have you met some of those people by over the years, I would imagine?
I met Ermin, way back in the 80s from Cannes.
Mhm.
Jean-Hervé Perron. I've met him a few times and played at his festival, and that's a great guy. Yeah, who else? Who else? I met Conrad Schnitzler, lovely
Oh,
man,
wow.
lovely
Wow.
man.
He's a
I met
character.
I met Uli Trapped way back.
Space
Yeah,
base.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
so were you a Beatles kid?
I love the Beatles,
Yes,
but for me it's the psychedelic Beatles that drew me in. It's
absolutely.
actually Revolution 9.
Yeah, number nine. Number nine.
Yeah, that
Nine.
that,
No,
that
no doubt.
that made a huge impression on a very
Yes,
pliable
absolutely.
young mind.
Something else that seems to come in the music is carnival-like themes musically.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's there. It's like probably my twisted imagination.
Subconscious, then it's subconscious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Wow. Awesome. Edward, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I really want to thank you for taking your time out in your day to talk and share with us.
Oh, thank you, Derek.
Um, I've talked to, I've been fortunate enough to talk to some of the other people that I really respect musically, members of Gentle Giant and Gong and people like that.
Oh, great. Great.
And
Oh, yeah, that's somebody I miss him deeply, David Allen.
I met him. Did you meet him?
Oh, many times. Yeah, he actually
Yes.
played on stage with me in San Francisco.
Yes. Mm. Yeah.
Like,
When
that
I
was one
met
of the
him,
highlights of my career. That it's
absolutely.
just
When I met him, it felt like I was meeting a brother, someone that it really felt special. Awesome, awesome. Um, so yeah, any highlights from the just being in music that you could share? Just some special moments that anything pop in mind.
ooh,
Like you folks are like so obscure that you probably have not been offered any like um artist of the year stuff like that. Have you gotten anything like that ever?
it was there. There were some, like, in terms of playing the Fillmore was a really big deal for me.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That that
Nice.
that I really loved that. Yeah, we played in
Wow.
1998 because San Francisco is always a very good city for us, still is.
Yes.
But the concept of, like, I'm on a stage where sort of like all these heroes have walked on before me. It's just like
Yes.
this can't be happening. It's like
That's
so,
fantastic.
that's about. We didn't play. It wasn't our best show. We
Hmm.
played well enough,
Hmm.
but I wanted it to be like just beyond.
Yeah, of course, of
um,
course.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, working with the tier guy, like I've always enjoyed that.
Oh yes, Kevin Key. Yes.
Yeah, working with Amanda, that was great. I
Nice.
love
Yeah, I
that
have
as
the
well.
tear guard. I have these.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are good. That's good stuff. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, and like working with Amanda Palmer, like we'd known each other for many years. And we made an album together. That was such fun to do. You know, the two of us just basically like just tossing ideas at each other all the time, and sort of like, and a very nice album came out of that.
Nice. I'll have to look that up. Have to look it up. Fantastic. It's like you've had a charmed life in a way. You're having a charmed life.
Nothing to complain about there.
Right on, right on. Edward, thank you so much for spending time and sharing this stuff with us. I'm going to put this on my channel today and let folks share this. This is really great. I've really enjoyed talking to you, Edward.
Cheers. There. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Talking to you. Yeah, 'cause I've been following all your posts, and there's like I wanted to make contact with you, but I'm a bit shy, so I rarely send a message. It's just it's like it's like my shyness is kind of a bit legendary in itself.
Well, you don't have to be shy with me. Don't have to be shy with me. We have a lot of actually we have a lot of friends in common, and I'm just glad that you're within my realm of my life, that you're one of the people in my circle.
Cheers, Dereck. Yes, you met Gentle Giant. I mean, that impresses me greatly. I love Gentle
Those
Giant.
guys are awesome. And then, it kind of blew my mind that Gary Green, the guitarist, he and his wife, they named one of their cats after me. That just kind of blows my mind.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it
I
just
love
blows
it.
my mind, I love it. I love it. But as I shared with them, my parents were musicians, and so I grew up in that milieu. When I was a child, John Coltrane visited our house, among other people.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, God, like, oh, that's insane.
it is. I
John
sat on his
Coltrane.
lap. I was maybe like 7 years old, but I remember this so strongly. I've always been really into music. The first thing I heard my parents said when I was in the crib, they put on Everly Brothers or Chuck Berry, and I would bounce like crazy. And my dad and parents were both musicians, and my dad was touring, so people would come through. He knew Dexter Gordon, all these people, so they would come through Omaha, and that's how. And so I guess what I'd like to relate it is that from an early age, I got to hear realness as far as expression, music, and people really making it real. And that's what I heard from the beginning with your music, even with that little cheesy guitar, that organ, G's defeated. I said, what the fuck's going on
Yeah.
here? This is some cool shit.
Oh,
So,
it's funny.
well, to me, honestly, I agree with folks who recognize a certain amount of genius in your work. I feel it. It feels very genuine, Edward. I want you to know that. Very genuine.
It's just genuine and it's real. Genius, I hesitate to use
I
that
hear
word,
you. I hear you, man. But we're going to give you that love, okay? I'm going to speak on behalf of the other bands that can't be here. We love you and respect you and hear your deep well of creativity. And I'm so glad you share it.
Oh, thank you, Dereck. I do appreciate your words here.
I mean it. And I'm looking forward to this next record that Lumberton Fourth Dimension is putting out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it should be kind of soon. Test pressing. I just arrived just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And it sounds good. It really
Great.
does sound good.
Excellent. Excellent. Who knows? I may bother you for another conversation in the future, if that's okay with you.
Dereck, you're always welcome.
Fantastic. Hey, you have a great creative day.
Oh, and you too.
Thanks for joining me. I'm going to sign off now, though, okay?
Thanks a lot, Dereck.
All right, take care.
See you later.
Take care. See you. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye.